the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be podsmacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
Hello, it is the Rob Carson Show. Podcast episode number 34. Can you believe it? 34. That's one less than 35. That's pretty amazing. Hey, welcome to the show. Glad to have you with me today. We've got plenty of stuff to get to. Some politics and a lot of other stuff that I think you're really going to enjoy. Going to get into the subject of the first transgendered Boy Scout. That's on the way. A woman has her children taken away because she wants to homeschool her kids. There's a show on Netflix now called Dear White People, and it says it's been satire, but it's really actually very condescending. Going to share some audio from that and some other stuff that I think you're really going to enjoy. If you would like to become a partner of the show and help me out to keep the lights on, go to patreon.com, patreon.com. Rob Carson Show. You can Google that. And then, if you want to give me $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever you want to do, keeps this podcast going, keeps my video podcast going on Facebook at Rob Carson Show, keeps my video and audio podcast going for my food blog, which is at Facebook at Rob Carson's Table. All right, so, we can disagree on politics. We won't disagree on food. Rob Carson's Table on Facebook is pretty darn cool. And I even share videos of my own cooking. And I cook. I'm a good cook. I'm a hell of a cook. Let's start off with the cool soundbite of the day. I'm going to start off with just the best soundbite of the day. If I can call it up here real quick. These are two people that I greatly admire. One for his cinematic excellence and just being a badass. The other for being a proud prime minister of a country that is the geological equivalent of a toenail clipping. It's that small and it's surrounded by its enemies. Yes, folks, and by the way, he's a badass too. It's Benjamin Netanyahu meeting Chuck Norris this week. Here it is.
Good to see you, Prime Minister.
Good to see you.
Well, thank you.
Listen, Israel is strong, but it's indestructible now.
Yeah.
You got to meet my wife, Gina.
Hello,
It's a
how are you?
pleasure.
How are
Thank you for having us, Prime Minister.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
You too.
I think we can tell our security people to leave. We don't need them anymore.
All right. I love it. I sounded like Matthew McConaughey. All right. No, I think they're terrific people, and Chuck Norris is a badass. I suggested Chuck Norris for the Secretary of Defense. Obviously, the White House wasn't listening to me, but very cool that they got together, and Benjamin Netanyahu's got a hell of a sense of humor. And Chuck Norris, my God, the guy's in his 70s, and he just kicks butt. Just absolutely kicks butt. There it is. I started off the show with the soundbite of the day. How cool is that? I've got another fun one I'm going to share with you. And then we're going to move on to some other stuff. There's a woman, she pulled into a parking space in Rhode Island. Now, the parking space was restricted between the hours of 8 and 10. When she pulled into the parking space, it was 9:59 and 58 seconds. 2 seconds away from being legal, yet she still got ticketed. Here's the judge in the courtroom. This guy's named Frank Caprio, and he's having a little bit of fun with the woman who was ticketed for being 2 seconds too early.
Sarah, you have one ticket on Cushing Street, no parking 8 to 10.
Correct.
You were there oh, no.
Not the 1 minute.
I literally pulled up
Not
at
the 1 minute.
9:58.
Ticket was issued at 9:59.
There's right.
9:59 and 58 seconds. And you can't park there until 10 o'clock. And you violated the city ordinances.
I did.
These are the city ordinances, Inspector Quinn, that she violated.
That point two will get you every time, Judge.
And our parking enforcement officers are second to none in the country. So what do you want to tell me about this? Taking the wrong path in life.
My car clocks at 10.
Oh, now you're blaming the car clock.
There you go.
Oh, see?
I'm sorry, Judge.
She's blaming the clock on her car. Inspector Quinn, what does justice demand in this case? Is this jail?
10 o'clock means 10 o'clock, Judge.
10 o'clock
My
means 10
father
o'clock?
told me that growing up.
Yeah. I think 9:59 is close enough to 10.
There you go.
Matter is dismissed.
There
Thank
you
you.
go. Bravo. I love that. I love that. I love that there is a modicum of common sense with regard to the bureaucracy. And I love the fact that this woman's case was dismissed. And I loved it. I just thought it was great. That was almost like a comedy routine between those two, between the lawyer and the judge. Absolutely fantastic. All right. Okay. Real quick, Donald Trump mentioned in a little meeting yesterday with business leaders. It looks like something big is coming in the next couple of weeks in the form of tax cut proposals.
So we want to help you realize these goals by rolling back burdensome regulations, and you people are regulated probably as much as almost anybody, although I can think of a couple of industries that are even worse. Lowering the overall tax burden on American business is big league. That's coming along very well. We're way ahead of schedule, I believe, and we're going to be announcing something, I would say, over the next 2 or 3 weeks that will be phenomenal.
And I heard today the claims for first-time claims for unemployment were down pretty significantly. In fact, I believe in the lowest in 4 years. So it's beginning to resonate. People are beginning to get the fact that these policies, combined with rolling back of regulation, going to be beneficial for us, guys. It's going to be beneficial for the country. It's going to be good for business. There's a interesting article about some of these Trump protests. The headline, Trump protests intensify as doubts swirl about spontaneity. Observers online are claiming that in some cases, protesters are being bussed into scenes, a telltale sign of coordination. Others claim to have found ads posted on Craigslist in which a Seattle-based nonprofit was soliciting full-time activists. We are looking for motivated individuals who are seeking full-time, part-time, and permanent positions, reads a line from an ad at the Washington CAN, C-A-N, all caps, exclamation point, posted on Wednesday. Anti-Trump protesters are being bankrolled by individuals like billionaire George Soros and groups like MoveOn.org. So all of this fear that we have of Trump's immigration policy is destroying this and destroying that and all that, they're overblown, and they're popularly supported. I just thought that was worth a mention. Since November election, 29% of workers say they are less productive. Yeah, but they're all Hillary voters. Almost 50% say they witnessed political talks turn into fights at work. A staggering 87% of employees are reading about politics while on shift. Nearly a quarter of workers spend 2 hours a day reading about politics. Well, at least they're being, informed, even if it's on company time. Better Works is this company that this survey that conducted this found 49% of employees do result. 49% of people witness political conversations that blew up into an argument. Pretty interesting. 87% admitted to reading about politics. 73% have talked to coworkers about affairs of the state. On average, people read 14 political posts while on the clock. 21% calculate reading up to 20 a day, which equates to 2 hours of reading. Millennials, more likely to be engaged in political activities, reading more posts at around 18 briefs a day. Well, reading posts is my job. So that's why I read so much. Michael Sam is back. Now, Michael Sam is a University of Missouri graduate. He was an NFL player for about 2 seconds. He was the first openly gay NFL player. You recall this. It happened, 2014. I think he made his announcement. He was drafted, and he kissed his boyfriend and all that stuff. Well, now he's on a speaking circuit, and he's blaming everybody but himself for his failure. Michael Sam says he always felt like an outsider. The deaths of his 2 older brothers, the bullying he endured by other family members, and even his mother's religion, Jehovah's Witness, made him feel apart from his peers, but nothing made him feel more like an outsider than being gay in the NFL. I had to prove myself to show that I was one of the guys, said Sam, speaking at a Sexuality Month event at the University of Albany. I was cut from the Rams even though I was in the top 5 in sacks. He's really into sacks. Then I went on to the Cowboys and had to do it all over again. And when I was cut there, I always felt like an outsider looking in. Sam assured the few hundred students who came to hear him in the campus center that everything happens for a reason. Michael, it could be that you just suck. Okay, maybe I could have phrased that better. The difficult childhood and NFL disappointment led him to become a motivational speaker. He says, when I came out to the world on February 9th, 2014, I got tons of emails from people telling me how they were condemned for their sexuality. Made me sad and angry. I spoke to a girl who told me because that I came out, she didn't commit suicide. I was speechless. Well, I don't doubt any of that. I don't doubt any of that. After high school in Hitchcock, Texas, Sam, a defensive end, was recruited to play for the University of Missouri, named an All-American Southeast Conference Defensive Player of the Year as a senior. Expected to be drafted in the second or third round in 2014. His prospects plummeted the day he announced he was gay. He wasn't drafted until the 7th round for St. Louis. And he was chosen in the 7th round because he's not that good. Sam remains very wary of the media. He refused interviews with the local press, stopped his talk to ask the television crews to turn off their cameras. Probably because he doesn't want to be asked about his performance on the field. He doesn't want to be confronted with it, but he'd rather blame it on systemic, anti- or homophobic feelings. And I don't doubt any of that exists. But I think in the NFL, I would say they would tend to be, as a brotherhood, accepting of it. And I don't think it had anything to do with him being drafted in the 7th round and then ultimately having to leave both teams. He can't cut it. That's just it. That's just it. All right. Let's talk about the transgender kid, the Boy Scout. I covered this story a while back, and there's this little kid who was born a girl, still has a Nina, Joe Maldonado. He put on his Cub Scout uniform on Tuesday night and became a member of Pac 20 in Essex County, while his mother held back tears. 1 week after the Boy Scouts of America changed its policy to allow transgendered children to be as scouts. He's 9. The kid is 9. Here's a little bit of from the Trans Scout.
The reason tonight is
The pack leader, by the way, it's historical.
so historic is because Joe is brave enough to be the first openly transgender boy to join the Scouts. And that takes an immense amount of courage.
Okay. No, it doesn't. Not at age 9. This is a kid who likes to dress like a boy, feels more comfortable as a boy, wanted to join the Boy Scouts. And mom and dad and the kid ultimately, pressured the Boy Scouts into it. And listen, I don't care if the kid is in the Boy Scouts. I don't care. Because at 9 years old, your genitals are for one thing, and that is peeing. All right? If this kid wants to dress as a boy, it doesn't make him a boy or her a boy, whatever. I'll tell you, the kid looks like a boy, acts like a boy, and that's fine, whatever. But as far as this being some sort of a brave act, no, not really. Not really. He doesn't understand the ramifications of it. It's not a giant moment for this kid. This kid identifies as a boy and wanted to get in the Boy Scouts. Congratulations. It wasn't a quest to change transgendered rights in the Boy Scouts of America. None of that. What do you do when a boy wants to be a Girl Scout? That's it, Like I said, if the kid wants to be a Boy Scout, that's great. I do worry about parents who allow their kids to become transgendered at this age, because this ultimately leads to delaying puberty, with the use of hormones, with the use of all that, and then ultimately, generally, I believe the statistic is 85% of kids who identify as the opposite sex when they're children, when they become adults, they go back to identifying as the sex they were born with. That's it. That's just the way it works. Okay. Apparently, a mother in Buffalo, New York, decided to homeschool last November. And like so many, and she's a woman of color, has 2 kids, and they go to a school that is failing. So mom's finally said, and I commend her for doing this, if they can't do it, then by God, I'm going to do it, because we don't allow school choice really in this country as far as funding is concerned. We don't a lot of the times allow vouchers. Most of the time don't allow vouchers for private school because of this inane separation of church and state. It's ridiculous. So this mom decided to do the right thing. Here is the story from WKBW, which, by the way, is where Bruce Almighty worked. Remember that?
I felt like the system was failing
Whiny
my
kitty
children,
baby whiners,
and that's when
wasn't-
I made the decision to homeschool.
Single mother Kiari Harris was fed up. She says her 2 elementary school-aged children weren't excelling at their failing Buffalo public schools. So she filed these documents at Buffalo City Hall, informing the district of her intent to homeschool her children. According to the documents she provided to 7 Eyewitness News, they're dated December 7th, 2016. And the district says here it received her paperwork.
I spoke directly to the homeschool coordinator, and she told me that from this point on, my children were officially unenrolled from school.
But she says a week later, CPS called, wondering why her kids weren't in school.
I told them that my children were homeschooled now, and I said that I can furnish the documents if they need to see it.
Harris says she went on with her homeschooling, but then, less than a month later,
I was confronted by the CPS workers and the Buffalo Police Department, and they said, well, it's too late now to show these papers. The judge has already made the order. We have to take your children. But they never did show me the order. And so since they didn't show me the order, I said, well, I'm not just going to give you my children. And from that point, they arrested me and said that I was obstructing the court order.
I hope she sues their asses off. She did everything she was supposed to do. And then the state, whatever, I don't know what sort of error there was, but she did everything she was supposed to do, and she got arrested and had her children taken away for weeks.
Harris says she hasn't seen her 2 children in 3 weeks. They've been living in a foster care institution.
Unbelievable. In a foster care institution. Imagine what this is doing to those kids. Imagine what this is doing to these kids.
It's a mother whose children have been torn from her arms.
The Buffalo Public School District says it cannot comment on this case due to federal laws, but says in order for a parent to file for homeschooling, they must have full custody of the children. Harris says she's a single parent.
Dad's not involved. Okay? What the hell else is she supposed to do?
And always has had full custody until her kids were taken away.
All of the documents were signed properly.
A member of the District Parent Coordinating Council says someone dropped the ball.
It should not have happened. Someone along the way, anywhere in the process after December 7th should have simply said, wait a minute, CPS should not be in here. The principal should have been circled back to and said, these students were unenrolled.
This should have never gone this far. This is typical bureaucratic BS. Harm has been done to these children. Harm has been done to this family. I say God bless her. I say God bless her. She's a single mom. She's a woman of color. She's looking at these schools and realizing that her sons are failing. The school is failing, and she took it upon herself, and this is what she's rewarded with. This is what she's rewarded with. Again, the report from WKBW, where, by the way, Bruce Almighty worked. Okay, let's talk about some other stuff. This is something you want to avoid if you're going to Walmart. A microwavable teddy bear with a warming heart. Newly married Jessica and Royal Deal had given their bear to their 6-month-old son, Raiden, who has a respiratory virus that affects his breathing. The Every Cuddle Buddy Bear was a gift from Mr. Deal's mother. It provides natural relief of headaches, pains, and aids and relaxation. All right? So the car dealership, Mr. Deal, what a great name to be a car dealer, right? Mr. Deal. Microwaved it for 29 seconds, then placed it in the kid's bed. Filled with a blend of cinnamon, clove, and eucalyptus. It relaxes children, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They decide to go upstairs, and then they smell fire. Rush to the kid's room. They realized the source of the fire was the teddy bear. It had been full of embers, burning red embers, and it had burnt through the crib chute, through the crib protector onto the mattress. Amazingly, the kid was unharmed, which is pretty cool. So this is apparently a product of Walmart. It is called the Every Cuddle Buddy Bear. You might be careful with that. I don't know about microwaving things and putting them in your kid's bed. Not such a good thing. North Carolina mother, and I don't even know where to go with this. North Carolina mother is looking to press charges against a daycare worker who she claims breastfed her 3-month-old without her consent. Casey Oxendine said the unidentified woman asked twice on Friday if she could breastfeed her son, who was constipated. Both times she told the woman no. She said that she had a son and did I want to put my child to her breast and breastfeed? She said, no, that's nasty. We don't do things like that. All right. So the security footage showed the alleged incident. It took place. The woman told the news outlet that her son, whose name was not disclosed, was born prematurely and is lactose intolerant, meaning he cannot consume any milk products. The alleged incident landed the family in the emergency room Friday evening when the infant began to throw up. So that's what gave it away. You know, that's what gave it away. To me, a criminal act was committed against my son, the mother said. Not only did you put your breast to my son, you also made my son sick because he's lactose intolerant. So you put something in his body that his body can't digest. The daycare director told the news outlet that an employee reported the alleged incident, and the woman accused of breastfeeding her son is no longer with the center. So, odd. It's a lot of audacity to breastfeed another kid's baby, really. Oh, this is from the category, so it's come to this. Funeral directors in Quebec are discussing how to educate people that taking selfies over a corpse and posting it to social media may be considered disrespectful in some families. President of the Corporation of Funeral Directors in Quebec, Dennis Desrochers, said the act of taking photos at a funeral isn't new, but sharing those photos on social media is. There won't be a selfie police, he told the Radio Canada network, but said that among Quebec funeral directors, there's a debate over how to educate people about what is respectful behavior at a funeral parlor. In many funeral parlors, we have very clear rules about limiting selfies, or we tell the public that the families don't want selfies. Funeral directors say with mobile phones, people are increasingly sharing these things. Despite his best efforts, people with mobile phones hide them until the last minute, strike a pose next to the coffin. Who the hell wants a picture of a dead relative? Who wants this? The fad of posting it on social media, however, can be detrimental to the family and the dignity of the late loved one. And it is. I never understood that. I've always been told that taking a picture of a body in the casket is taboo. Occasionally, like I saw James Brown, Michael Jackson, and I've never felt terribly comfortable with it. I don't like it. I think it is disrespectful to the deceased, and I think it's kind of gross. I think it's kind of gross. And I mean, you have to have a serious character flaw, or at least a void in your childhood, that you would think it's cool or fun to take a picture with a dead loved one in a casket as a selfie and smiling. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Here's a priest. I love this guy. As a guy is a priest in, I believe it is Rhode Island, and he is a conservative, and he likes to share his political leanings online. He's in Newark, New Jersey. Okay, Newark, New Jersey. Peter West, an avowed supporter of President Trump, doesn't shrink from calling it as he sees it, posting on Facebook and Twitter up to a dozen times a day. He has repeatedly rallied against Muslims, calling moderate Islam a myth and voicing strong support for the president's travel ban, which temporarily barred immigrants from 7 majority Muslim countries, blah, blah, blah. West has assailed millennials as snowflakes. This is textbook conservative talk radio. I mean, this is your standard talk radio show, which I would like to think I don't do a standard talk radio conservative show. This guy is the ideal candidate. Okay. Anyway, he's assailed millennials as snowflakes who attend cry-ins and described liberals as smug and arrogant people who find solace in puppies and Play-Doh. He's called Hillary Clinton an evil witch, former President Barack Obama a bum, at one point sharing a post that challenged Obama's authenticity as an African-American because he wasn't raised by a poor single mother in the inner city. Jeez. You know, he's not down with the struggle, right? That's what the black leaders say. So this guy's 57 years old, Catholic priest in the Archdiocese of Newark, 7,300 Facebook followers. Perhaps more significant, West's online behavior breaks with the longstanding protocol that religious figures should refrain from political bomb throwing or the disparagement of other faiths. Reverend Wright, Reverend Wright. There are plenty of churches that have political opinions. I have been to one church that I would describe as fairly liberal. They didn't talk a lot politics, but occasionally it would flare up, and I didn't like it. And so I don't go to that church anymore. West is not accused for stumping for Trump or denigrating the president's critics during church services, but his public musings on the internet raise question about how politically active clergymen can or should be in their private lives before running afoul of the federal law. Reverend Wright. A lot of black churches engage in politics. They invite Democrats to come speak. So give me a frickin' break. This guy isn't even doing it from the pulpit. Minority of commenters on West's Facebook page have denounced him as a hate monger who promotes divisiveness. I might as well throw Nazi in there. That's the next thing, right? His response, a harangue against leftist apparatchiks and Comrade Obama. Directly addressing the complainant, whom he did not name, West added, you should be ashamed of yourself for supporting pro-abortion, anti-family politicians. If I get in trouble for denouncing them, so be it, but I won't be scared off by a totalitarian jerk like yourself. Boston College theology professor Stephen Pope, an expert on Catholic social teaching, said Catholic priests are forbidden from using their office and their priesthood to promote partisan political decisions or positions. A priest's job is to be a bridge builder, not a wall builder. I wonder if he did that on purpose. So West doesn't apologize for his opinions, even if some find them offensive. People ask me, Father, shouldn't we try to convert liberals instead of making fun of them? He wrote on his Facebook after the election. My answer is that mocking is part of the conversion process. That's fantastic. Oh, that's fantastic. All right, let's talk a little bit about this new trailer for Netflix. The show is called Dear White People, and it has attracted 17 times more dislikes than likes on YouTube. Let me set it up. This clip features a girl who has a radio show, and it's called Dear White People. And it's basically, I think it's very condescending towards white people, but it's the kind of thing that we're seeing on campuses everywhere. And it's okay to be racist against white people. Here is the offending trailer.
Dear white people, here's a list of acceptable Halloween costumes. Pirate, slutty nurse, any of our first 43 presidents.
Top
Top
Barack
of the list
Obama.
of unacceptable costumes. Me.
Then it segues into a rapid-fire series of cuts of people at parties in blackface. White people at parties in blackface, which doesn't happen. And if it does, it's very, very rarely, and generally it's a mistake. So you can dress as everybody but Barack Obama, white people. You cannot dress like the president if he is a black person, okay? And then you cannot do blackface. Here's why kids don't do blackface. Because if they do blackface, even when it's unintentional, like there was a couple of instances last year of girls with the mud masks on and then referring to like my homies as a joke. And they've been ostracized, many of them kicked out of school. So you couldn't, you'd be a fool to do it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen absolutely, but generally when that does happen and it's noticed on social media, people have their lives ruined. So I don't know. I haven't seen the show. When I hear that condescension, I posted on Facebook today. I said, how would you like it if it was Dear Black People? And it was me. And I'm like, Dear Black People, stop killing each other at 10 times the national murder rate in Chicago and inner cities across the country. How's that? Put a rapid-fire cut of just crime scenes with chalk body outlines. I don't think I'd go over very well, do you? No, I don't think so. Merriam-Webster has added some new, I guess, expressions. They're not really words. They're like throw shade. Throw shade. All right. These are a series of expressions and words that they've added. The only reason Merriam-Webster does this is because they want people like me who are stupid enough to talk about it. Train wreck is an utter disaster or mess. To ghost is to abruptly cut off all contact with someone by no longer accepting or responding to phone calls. Program directors do that to me. That's weird. That's so weird. Are you there? Photobomb is when you move into the frame of a photograph as a joke or prank. Truther, one who believes that the truth about an important subject or event is being concealed by a public or powerful conspiracy. And then, look, there's a picture of Alex Jones. Binge watch, to watch all episodes of a TV series rapid succession. Facepalm, to cover one's face with a hand as an expression of embarrassment, dismay, or exasperation. Weak sauce, something inferior, ineffective, or unimpressive. And to throw shade is to express contempt or disrespect for someone publicly, especially by subtle or indirect insults or criticism. Throw shade. I think I've used Facepalm. That's about it. Farmer in Canada got pulled over the other day. He was trying to clear snow off a public road. I guess this is what they do in Canada when old Zambonis go to retire. They give them to farmers or they buy them or whatever. They didn't give him a ticket. They told him to get off the road. Now, he has this Zamboni that he uses to move horse manure around on his farm. The problem with him when he was clearing the snow off the road is that a Zamboni generally leaves behind it a clear sheet of ice. All right? Here's the audio.
We thought it'd be fun to bring out the Zamboni and see how it worked. It's a good 5 inches on the ground, and all we did was decide that we wanted to clean up the road up to my aunt's house.
We got a call that there was Zamboni on the roadway, and I guess maybe the caller didn't know if he was trying to make an ice rink.
A Zamboni on the roadway?
Or what he was doing.
I would have kept going if we never got pulled over. I would have had the whole driveway or the whole roads all cleaned up.
So our officers came out here and found him with good intentions, trying to clear some snow for a family member and trying to help out in the conditions.
I use it to move my horse manure around.
You use a Zamboni to move your horse manure around. Okay. All right. Guy in Oklahoma got sloppy drunk, walked up to a bunch of Girl Scouts and asked him if he could trade vodka for cookies. Cops arrested him. He was so drunk he couldn't walk to the police car. Here is the captain of the Ardmore Police Department and the 2 women who live in the area.
They were trying to sell their Girl Scout cookies. Apparently, a male subject approached them, asked him if he could trade vodka for Girl Scout cookies. He didn't have anything to say about it. He didn't know what they were talking about. You know, he was unsteady on his feet and, basically have to place him in the police car, and he was barely able to walk.
I think that he's very insane in the brain for them to come up to some young kids to say some stuff like that, So just thank God he got out that he was able to get moved out the way.
These kids should feel safe here. They go trick-or-treating here. This is the way it should be. They should be able to post up and sell some cookies, not worry about people and the fear of creepy men.
You shouldn't say things like that to underage kids anyway. I mean, even if you are joking.
You got to wonder if stoners in Colorado attempt to trade pot for cookies. Seriously. You got to imagine. All right, that's going to do it for the show today, guys. Greatly appreciate you hanging out with me. If you would, please share on social media. Again, I do have a page called patreon.com, Rob Carson Show, where you can make a contribution to help keep the show going. In the meantime, also, 2 Facebook pages, Rob Carson Show and Rob Carson's Table, one about current events, one about food, and on Twitter at Rob Carson. Have a glorious rest of your day. God bless, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram, I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now. We'll see you soon.